Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out ZBCN Zebec Network chart and see what is happening in the short and also midterm. But before we get into all that, at the beginning, we are going to talk about this tweet from Zebec's account, and they announced a new joint venture with Asure HCM, which is a human capital management software platform. Basically, these are the guys that handle payroll and HR tools for companies. Now, this tweet says that Zebec and Asure are working together to build a stablecoin payroll tool. And that means instead of, for example, your paycheck hitting your bank account in terms of dollars, you could actually get paid in stablecoins and not just one-off payments. No, Zebec is bringing in their streaming payment technology. So in theory, and again, this is just in theory, you could get paid continuously, like by the minute or even by the second. Also, another big part of the tweet is this number. They are talking about 4 million customers, and Assure claims that they actually have this many users in United States. And well, if a fraction of them is going to adopt a stablecoin, then okay, that's going to be a huge addressable market for us. Now, let's think about what that actually means for Zebec and what is it actually about. Number one, I think this can be a classic example of real world use case. You see, most crypto projects still live, unfortunately, in a speculative land, but payroll is definitely something that every single company deals with. And if Zebec can pull this off, it puts them in quite a different category. Second, this is about adoption potential, because when a partner that already has, at least according to them saying, millions of customers, then okay, Zebec doesn't really need to go door to door anymore convincing businesses. The infrastructure is already there, which is definitely not that bad. Third, this actually gives Zebec Network some differentiation. You see, a lot of projects talk about on-chain payroll. However, not really that many of them have a direct tie-up with an established HCM platform, and this partnership, in my view, does give Zebec quite a bit of credibility, especially when you pay attention to the token. And at the moment, we are about, let's say, $390 million in terms of market cap, standing at rank 156. So this isn't really that much of a big project. However, if they manage to have a successful partnership with Azure, okay, I think people are going to take Zebec more and more seriously, which is awesome. And of course, last but not least, if there are some fees or maybe token usage baked into this tool, then okay, it could directly impact ZBCN's utility and demand. And again, I want to be very clear, this is just a speculation, but you know, if it happens, it's going to be something investors will definitely want to keep an eye on. Now, I don't really want to oversell this to you, because right now this is just a simple announcement, and in case that you are a new viewer and also overall new to the crypto market, you should know that partnerships in the crypto space can sometimes sound a bit bigger than what they already are. So you know, it's definitely good to stay cautious. However, overall, I think this is definitely bullish news, because it aligns perfectly with Zebec's core idea of streaming payments and real world finance use cases. And if this actually delivers, again, we're not really sure what is going to happen, but if this actually delivers, this could be, in my view, potentially a serious growth driver for ZBCN. So overall, I'm gonna say this is absolutely positive news for ZBCN. And again, let's also keep our eyes on fundamental side of stuff and see what is going to happen in the future. And if we see more news and adoptions like this, okay, fantastic. We are going to be able to be bullish with much more confidence. So again, definitely positive news. Now let's go on the live chart and see what technicals are telling us right now in the mid and also in the short term. Okay, here we are. And before we get into what is happening in like very short term, because now we are seeing some interesting signs, let me tell you that overall in Zebec, we are looking very bullish, and odds are this is actually a beautiful bull run setup, since in my view, we are having 5 wave into 1 correction for wave 2, and what's next? Yup, big move up into wave 3 for 5, and this white 5 wave on the upside at that point is going to be into this larger degree wave 3, correction for 4, and then guess what? Yep, we're gonna have another move up into wave 5. And even if you want to say maybe this is like too optimistic, then okay, may I suggest just count on having at least this 5 wave on the upside. And at that point, well, okay, I guess if we see the right signs, we can say, you know what, maybe these are the sub waves for an ABC zigzag and our bull run is over. The point that I'm trying to make is this: it seems like that overall in the mid to long term, the structures definitely support the positive news that we are getting. So makes sense to expect by the end of this cycle at least one more phase of the bull run, which in it I do think we are going to see some big moves on the upside in Zebec. So overall, I think we are looking good. Let's not get that twisted. Now, having said all that, let's go on some lower time frames. And if you remember, the last time that we talked about Zebec, we were, I think, right in here. And the idea was that maybe even this is going to be a 1-2. For example, I think we said this can be 1, correction for 2, and what's next? Good move up into wave 3, 4, 5, and on a higher degree, that might be into a wave 3 and 4 and 5, and even that one might be into a wave 3 and 4 and 5. And what happened? If I just zoom in a bit more, as you can see, we got a move down, and two things happened in here. Number one, we actually got a breakdown of our beautiful ascending channel, which may not necessarily be an optimistic sign. And number two, in this face down in Zebec in the last couple of hours, we actually took this important low. And if I just hide everything, there we go. You can definitely see that we took the lows. No arguments there. Now, is this going to be such a bearish sign? To be honest, not yet at least. But I'm going to be real with you. I honestly expected Zebec to from here get a very strong bounce back and just get a break out of our ascending channel, which I think we also talked about this in the previous video, could potentially confirm that 1-2 scenario that we talked about earlier. However, that didn't happen. Now, here is what is going on in my mind. At the moment, there is still some room to be optimistic in Zebec. Now, you just have to say that, sure, maybe this is an ABC flat, but right now, this is going to be a correction up and maybe an A, B, C zigzag, and then this is going to be, if you again insist on being bullish, another A, B, C in form of a zigzag down, which means on a higher degree, what do you have? Maybe from this point, a W, X, Y in form of a flat and a zigzag, and the 1-2 scenario might be a still play, but now we're just going to say this is 1-2, and this is yet another still 1 and 2 on a higher degree if you insist on being bullish just for like very short term. Question though, do I like this scenario or not? I'll be honest with you. If we are having a bearish structure suggesting that we're going to continue our move down in order to take the lows, then okay, we have to see an acceleration of this face down, let's say in the next 48 hours. If we are not going to see that, however, okay, that's going to be a bit of a different story. One way or the other, I need you to actually have your eyes on this very important low down here, about, let's say, 0.36 of a cent. Why? Because let's go around, excuse me, this area. You see, if you want to say that we're going to have our final low around here, then okay, you have to be able to find off of the lowest low in this region, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. This specific structure is called an impulsive movement. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave, wave 3 should not be the smallest wave. And in terms of the sub waves, you know it, 5 wave up into wave 1, 3, and 5. And for wave 2 and 4, we can have different counts. Doesn't really matter. Let's say, yeah, okay, sure. ABC into 4 and like a WXY structure into wave 2. And if I just go on the live chart, okay, you see, assuming that in Zebec we get a move on the downside and take the lows, at that point, here's a question for you: how exactly are you able to find a 5 wave impulsive structure in this initial bounce off of the lowest low? From my POV, finding it is going to be a bit of a challenge to a degree that is going to make me say, you know what, maybe we should consider having in this region a correction structure, suggesting what we are going to have, unfortunately, another move on the downside. But that is not going to be on the grand scheme of things necessarily a bad sign. Okay, it is very, very important to understand that one way or the other. I really believe that this is 5 up into 1 correction for wave 2, then big move up into wave 3, 4, 5. But whether we have hit our final low or not, you know what, fair enough, that can be up for the base. And the recent phase down that we got in the past 24 hours didn't necessarily help any kind of bullish case that we are allowed to consider in here in Zebec. But if you do not care about the short-term price action, may I suggest just wait and sit this one out until we get like a very strong bounce back. And by that, you probably know what I mean, right? I mean a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulsive structure in order to take the previous major pivot high. When we do that, okay, at that point you can be bullish in Zebec in like very short term with a whole lot more confidence. And finally, let's check out some indicators and then wrap up today's update. Okay, what do you have? As you can see in MACD, we recently got a sell signal, which is really not ideal. And what is happening in stock RSI? Let's just bring it up real quick. Where is it? Okay, there we go. Okay, this is actually the opposite because number one, we are around the oversold area, meaning what? Maybe soon bears are going to run out of power. And if we just zoom in more, as you can see, seems like that we want to get a buy signal, but pay attention to what I said. I said, seems like we want to get a buy signal, meaning this at the moment is not confirmed yet. You need to wait until the current weekly candle closes. In other words, until the end of the week. And at that point, if you still have this signal, you know what, fair enough. That can be an optimistic sign suggesting maybe in Zebec, it is going to be time to start the next major phase of the bull run. Ultimately, again, if you do not care about the short-term price action, you would actually be better off waiting to see a buy signal in these two indicators at the same time, because whenever we are having buy signals in these two at the same time, that in most cases is going to translate to some strong moves up. So overall, I think in terms of indicators in weekly time frame, you need to be a bit patient. And what is happening in daily chart? Okay, this is not ideal because now we are having a confirmed sell signal in stock RSI, and seems like that we want to get a sell signal in MACD as well. But just to confirm it, let's wait until the end of the day. And at that point, if you have this thing, okay, that might be a very important sign further confirming that this move down is going to continue a little bit. So overall, again, we are looking absolutely bullish. Let's not get that twisted. Do not let anybody tell you otherwise. But in the short term, maybe we are going to have some more downward price action, and it's not really going to be a bad sign at all. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Zebec's price chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.